This segment is brought to you by Trinidad and Tobago IVF and Fertility Center. World-class specialist capabilities and care. Fertility step by step. Your journey to parenthood.
6.5 minutes after Trinidad and Tobago, and yes, here we are again with another edition of Fertility Step by Step. We are here today with Dr. Catherine Minto-Bain, Medical Director and a Fertility Doctor at the Trinidad and Tobago IVF and Fertility Center, which is based right here in Trinidad and Tobago. It offers a full range of world-class fertility solutions for couples having trouble conceiving a baby. Today, Dr. Catherine has brought along a very special guest, Ms. Gabby Rodney. Dr. Catherine, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you with us again. Well, you're sort of like a part host of the show today, because can you do the introductions?
I absolutely a part host. I don't think I could possibly get even close to that, but Fizia, thank you. Good morning. So Gabby is one of the really important staff members at the fertility clinic. She's a medical assistant, a fertility coordinator nurse. She has loads of experience, 16 years in the medical field, 9 years, nearly 10 years now working in the field of fertility with Trinidad Fertility. What does she do? Well, she's a nurse, she does all the fertility coordination. She's a fully trained andrology technician, which means she can do all the sperm tests, the more difficult ones like the DNA frag tests. So she's qualified in that aspect of male fertility. She's also one of our best phlebotomists, taking blood, really an expert in that. And she's really good at giving injections and taking blood when you actually don't even notice she's done it. That's why we call her our injection whisperer. She's so good at that. So Gabby, basically she works with both men and women in our clinic as they go along their fertility journey to parenthood. And what I'd really like is, I'm excited, she's going to share some of her insights really about the special challenges that men face in dealing with fertility.
Indeed, and that is going to be dominating our discussion as far as infertility and men and the process. So good morning, Gabby. Thanks very much for being with us. Let's talk about your role in the clinic when you work with men, which is, I suppose, always a touchy subject, with the men and our egos and all of that sort of thing. What do you do?
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. At the clinic, our job is to try to help men especially, well, not especially, but help men be more comfortable with the journey that they are about to embark. A lot of the focus is on the woman, and we often tend to leave the men in the background because we probably just think, they're just here to produce a sample. But at Trinidad IVF, we try to make the journey inclusive. So our job is to bring the men into the conversation and help them feel a little bit more comfortable about what they're going to be doing.
Okay, so I know you're familiar with the phrase, what is your greatest fear? Because you often hear that, whether it's in a movie or a discussion or whatever, people always ask people, what is your greatest fear? What would you identify as your male patient's #1 fear?
For them, I think the #1 fear is that we are judging their masculinity by the results of a simple test. So a lot of them feel shame when they come in to do the semen analysis, because it's hard to come into something that you're not sure what the answer is going to be. And that shame often translates into anger and aggression, because sometimes when you try to speak with them, it's not as easy as if they were just here for a blood test. So men are often looked at as the pillar of strength, and then you have this gentleman coming in here. In his mind, he's unable to perform the most basic of roles that a man is supposed to do, which is give his wife a child. So, they stand on the sidelines and they watch the wife go through everything, and all he could do is just stand there and look at what's happening.
And when we talk about all these different challenges, are there particular medical issues that make men fearful, Gabby?
There are medical issues. Most men come in and they think that they don't have sperm, and it's hard to just do the semen analysis because they're afraid of what that will reveal. But at Trinidad IVF, we look for ways to help patients. So it's sometimes we just need a couple of sperm and we can help. We just need to find sperm. If we can't find sperm, we have fixes for that as well. So, it's just a matter of taking that first step and doing the test with the information, we could give you options and give you ways to help.
And what do you do to help these male patients who might be feeling insecure, who might be feeling that this is a test to see whether he's a real man or not, and all those sorts of things? What do you do to assist them in that regard as far as the entire process?
Really, the only thing is time and patience and a lot of information. We have information about everything you could imagine here, and we are free with that information as well. So it really is about you getting to know the patients, trying to get them to develop a relationship with you that they feel comfortable enough that they could talk and explain what their fears are. And with that, we could help them. I usually tell them just coming into the semen analysis is a very brave thing, and I let them know once we find out what the results say, we have answers that we could help,
And I know Dr. Catherine is going to jump in a little while talking about her own perspective that she'd like to bring to our discussion, but I think you have a patient example that you want to tell us about as well?
I do. So we we see all types. We see all age ranges, class, creeds, it doesn't matter. And, there would be cases that would stand up. So we had this young man, early 20s, and his wife reached out. He had a very low volume of ejaculate. And for men, it seems like, if you don't have an ejaculate, you don't have sperm, because they don't separate the two in their mind. And they just assumed that, it was over for them. And, they came in and they didn't want to talk about what the issue was. And then with the more information they gave them and the more you kind of gain the trust through conversation, they started opening up more. And then he eventually trusted us enough to do the semen analysis, and we found sperm, and he's pregnant. Well, not him per se, but
no, I was just going to say, I know you all into the fertility business, but I didn't know that you could make men pregnant. So
we can do miracles, but
that's very important that we clarify that one. But Dr. Catherine, would you like to jump in here?
Yeah, I was just going to say, let me be very clear. We don't get men pregnant. That's the one thing we can't do yet. Although Gabby is amazing. Yeah, so, for that young couple, he had a low volume. His ejaculate didn't have a lot. He thought it was a very small volume. And he was right, but there was sperm in it. And with those, you can do insemination treatments. Sometimes you don't even need to go to IVF. There are lots of options. I think there's just so much misinformation, and Gabby, I'm sure you'd agree with me, so much misinformation out there, people making all these assumptions, and Gabby's very good at just, giving some gentle, kind, good information and helping people get there. Gabby, we've talked a lot in the clinic, and we really want to kind of help change the conversation around fertility in the general population in TNT. Particularly with male infertility, because we see it as such a taboo or a stigmatized subject. What do you often talk about your thoughts. What do you think are your top 3 recommendations about how we should be approaching male infertility out there?
One thing we need to do is realize that men also have feelings. I mean, they come in and they try to be as strong as they are, but they feel just as much, probably sometimes more, than their female partner. And we have to appreciate that they are struggling inside as well. 2, we tend to focus a lot on the women, and we don't involve the men because we just assume that they're, not interested in treatment. But we need to start to invite them into the procedures as well, make them feel like they're part of what's happening, so they could, feel like focus is also on them. And 3, we need to provide a space so they could express what they're feeling. So I know we have the counselors, but not everybody would be open to counseling, but we need to create an environment where they feel that they are safe to express whatever weakness they're feeling or whatever emotion. They can let their guard down and be part of the whole journey.
And given the range of experiences that you would have had over these many years involved with the fertility clinic, are there any experiences that have really stuck with you over this time?
I have a lot because I am always in there with the patients. So we have patients, like for men especially, we have patients that come in with, I don't want to say a chip on the shoulder, but they already have this preconceived notion that we are going to judge them. So they don't want to give information. It's like you have to pull it out of them. And we had a gentleman present with declining parameters. So his count was going down. With each test he did, the count was going down. He would have done additional tests, but he just refused to give us the information about those tests. And he was just very aggressive in his interactions with us. And, we just kept giving him information, kept talking to him, and, keep giving him ideas as to what we could do, how we could help. And eventually, just like that, he just opened up one day and just spilled everything out. And from then to now, the communication is so easy that, it's almost pleasant to talk to him now, where it used to be a little bit of a challenge. And he's one of our biggest advocates today. The other patients that I could think about, I've been with them from the time I did their nurse appointment. So from the time they had their nurse appointment, they came in, it was a male factor. And he was just looking for information to help his wife get this baby that they wanted. And he was willing to try pretty much everything. He worked very hard. He changed his lifestyle, changed his diet. They were able to do a couple inseminations. That didn't work. And then he just decided, let's try donor sperm. And she was adamant, no, I don't want donor sperm. And, we kind of convinced him, still try with your sperm. And then he reluctantly tried, and they have a very lovely baby boy today because he was willing to just let go of the controls and let us guide.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it actually, Fazia. Gabby helps people let go of their fear. I think so many people have fear when they come to the doctor. People come now thinking they need to read on Google and understand, but a big chunk of what they're dealing with is fear. And I think when we understand that and welcome people and just wait for them and give them the information, that makes such a difference. It really does in all aspects of medicine. But Gabby is one of our best at that, I would say. Gabby, I wanted to ask you a question. I'm jumping in and taking Fazia's job. What do you think is your favorite part of the job?
I enjoy all aspects of my job, but I do particularly enjoy being a part of the sharing information. Because as you said, a lot of people come in with a lot of misinformation. And, Dr. Google does give guidance, but it's often down the wrong track. So, just giving them the information and seeing when their eyes light up, when they get the information that might be pertinent to them, is completely, because you see the whole narrative change and you see them become more accepting, and then they become part of the family, and then they're now ready for us to guide them to where they need to be. So I love that part of it. I love speaking to men and just kind of helping them understand that a semen analysis is not a test that they can pass or fail. It's really just a test to help you understand where you at, and just give them general information.
Okay.
I like being a part of something that's bigger than me, and it's not something that I would have been afforded an opportunity to do if I was not at Trinidad IVF.
All right. Well, all that is nice, but let's get to the point, literally, because I hear you use the injection whisperer at the IVF. So tell us about this experience, because I'm sure I'm not alone in being scared of injections, any kind of injection. Tell us the story.
I am also scared of needles. I can wield them very well. I can't take them as well. So I have patients that are not able to give themselves injections. For one, I did her whole IVF injection sessions because she was just mortified of the needles. I have patients that would call because they're not able to do the injections on time and they just need some help. And one just a couple of weeks ago, she called and she asked if I could do her injection because her partner wasn't able to do it. And I said, fine, no problem. She came in, but she wasn't ready mentally for this injection. So she kept going, okay, give me a minute, give me a minute. So it's like, all right, no problem. We'll just get you ready in the meantime. And I'm there cleaning, preparing the space. And then she goes, all right, I'm ready. And then she goes, no, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And then she goes, yes, okay, I'm ready. And then I'm saying, I'm standing here with this needle and you're just going back and forth. So I was like, okay, no problem. I'll just get ready. When you are ready, let me know. We'll count to 3. And then she goes, okay. And she's holding on to my hand. I said, but you can't hold on my hand because when I'm ready, I need the injection to go in. And she goes, okay, all right, no problem. When she let go of my hand, I gave her the injection. She's counting to 3. 1, 2. So I was like, oh, we done. And she goes, what? I was like, yeah, we done. She's like, oh gosh, well, somebody was doing something wrong because I didn't even feel it. And that made me feel really good.
Well, thanks for telling me that, because the next time I had to bounce you up, and every time you reach 2, I run in. I ain't waiting because I know you'll
Well, with you
administer
as
the
with
needle.
on one, you wouldn't even know.
All right. But by the way, do you get to meet the babies at all?
We do meet babies. We meet babies. They come to the clinic for visits. They send us videos. I'm an auntie. I meet them in supermarkets. I meet them on the road. You know, they stop out and they come and they say, "This is your auntie," and I'm a part of a family that I ordinarily would not have been a part of because of, you know, we help them get to this point that they have a family. So it's an honorable place to be, where, you know, you can be invited into these ordinary people's lives from start to finish, and you are a valued part of it, and they speak about you with, you know, glowing terms, and it really is a good experience.
I'm sure it has to be. What does it mean to you to work at the TTIVF?
It is extremely different because I've worked in medical offices before, and it was all sickness and death. But at Trinidad IVF, I'm on the other side. I'm on the side of creating life. So it's like, you know, you take this little bit of hope and you help them cultivate it until it becomes something tangible, which is their baby that they've been waiting for. And it's not something that everybody has the opportunity to be a part of, because normally in medical, you hear sickness, death, endings. But at Trinidad IVF, it's hope and love and beginnings, and it's new life, and, you know, you're part of a very, very special journey. A lot of people think it's all about the money, but honestly, it is not. It is about helping you get to where you want to be. Yes, it would cost money, but it's not. That's not our primary focus. Our primary focus is getting you that little bit of hope that you have behind your heart into something bigger that you can hold in your arms.
And final words from you today, Gabby Rodney. It's a privilege having you with us this morning. What would you like to say finally to our viewers and listeners?
I just want people to stop being so hard on themselves. Infertility is not something that you go to the supermarket and pick up. It's not yours to carry by yourself. You'll be surprised if people talk about it. You'll know somebody who's probably going through the same journey as you. And, you know, we're here to help. And we just need you to reach out to us, and we can help.
Well, it's been really interesting having the conversation. And again, I have to keep in mind, whenever you say count to 3, disappear by the time you reach 2 in that regard.
I'll change that for you, don't worry.
I wish you all the best with that. But Dr. Catherine, I'm sure you'd like to give us some final contact information before we conclude our discussion.
Yeah, so we're from Trinidad IVF. We do all the fertility. You can find us on the website, trinidadivf.com. We're obviously on Instagram, Facebook, social media, Trinidad Fertility. And if you'd like to call us up, 222-8341. It won't necessarily be Gabby, but you'll get lots of wonderful people on the phone who are just like Gabby. So give us a call if you have any issues with fertility.
Thanks very much, ladies, for being with us once again. We've been chatting with medical assistant and fertility coordinator Gabby Rodney and Dr. Catherine Minto-Bain, medical director and a fertility doctor at the Trinidad and Tobago IVF and Fertility Center. The TTIVF and Fertility Center is based right here in Trinidad and Tobago and offers world-class fertility solutions for couples having trouble conceiving a baby. That's fertility step by step.
This segment was brought to you by Trinidad and Tobago IVF and Fertility Center, world-class specialist capabilities and care.